Hello, storygoers, and welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Cartridge, the video game storytelling podcast. Happy New Year, happy 2024. Woo! We hope everyone had a good holiday season. But Ryan, how are you, and what have you been playing?
I've been playing a couple little things, and then one big thing. I will start with little things. I played a game, and actually, as soon as I started playing this game, I had my partner reach out to you. I've been playing a game called Little Gator Game. I finished it the other day. It's a very short, really cute game, kind of inspired by A Short Hike, but also very heavily inspired by like the Legend of Zelda series. And then also just very inspired by like growing up and what it's like to grow up and having an older sibling and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a really charming, beautiful game and was really sweet and just really fun. So a really great game. Definitely suggest folks check it out. It only probably takes like 3 or 4 hours to like 100%. Really wonderful and charming. Chants of Sennaar, I just finished as well, which is like a puzzly game where you're like deciphering language. Very similar to the other, brainy games that I've been playing, which I'll talk more about later. And then Baldur's Gate 3. I have been kind of trying to get farther in it as I have not finished Act 1 yet. Or actually, I've just finished Act 1. That's the farthest I've gotten in any of my playthroughs. So I have like my own game I'm playing. I'm playing a game with my partner. And I'm just trying to get a little bit farther because I have not gotten any farther than that. And I feel like a lot of the really cool stuff is that like the stuff you did in Act 1 shows up later, and I haven't seen any of that. So I've been playing more of that, and that's all been very fun and chill and wonderful. Eric, how are you? What have you been playing?
I'm good. I am excited. This has been my most exciting part of this episode already, Ryan. I've been dreaming of that this day since since things had happened since the holidays. I'm moving my microphone over, or moving my camera over so you can see better. All right, Ryan. I don't know if you noticed, but I have a new chair.
What?
And I do. I know. I got it for the Christmas, but here we go. But it does squeak a little bit. See here, it does squeak a little bit, which is unfortunate.
I hear nothing.
I think it just kind of. Oh, you hear nothing?
I hear nothing. I mean,
I'm sure the mic will pick it up.
I trust you with that. Yeah.
But Ryan, more importantly, is that while this chair is fantastic, I have evolved further. And hold up. And I don't know if you noticed,
Eric, where are you going?
My screen
Eric,
is rising as I am too. And I also offer these like half standing. I got a standing desk.
Amazing.
I have transcended Ryan.
Oh man, bringing standing energy to the first episode of 2024. Oh man, okay, that's very exciting.
I don't. I'm looking at the sound volume thing on our recording thing, and it's just everywhere. I'm sure it's just so loud. I never want to go back.
It's pretty amazing.
The standing desk.
Yeah.
It makes this chair, this beautiful chair. My partner got me both things. It makes this beautiful chair.
What an amazing gift.
Beautiful, amazing gift, but it's just the standing desk though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just feel bad. I just want to just stand at this desk all day.
It's pretty great.
It's so much fun. We're going to play Lethal Company today, and I will be standing for that, I think. I don't think I'll be sitting.
You should stand so you're ready. So wonderful. Really exciting.
I was very excited. I didn't want to tell you, though. I wanted to surprise you on Tales. That's a genuine reaction.
Amazing.
I see how you live now, and it's beautiful. I highly recommend anyone get a standing desk.
It's really great
if you can.
Yeah,
and it's kind of first world problems, right? Like
for sure. Yeah.
So take it for what it is, And so anyway, I'm good though. I'm good. I'm standing. I'm happy. It is a winter wonderland out right now. It is snowing like crazy. It's gonna be like close to 50 on Wednesday, I think, here in Maine.
Yeah.
But global warming. Global warming's not real. Obviously not.
Totally normal thing where this is our first snow of the year.
But I have been good. I have been playing, of course, Fortnite still. I also beat God of War Valhalla.
Yeah.
I really put myself in Kratos. I won't spoil anything in this, so if you haven't played yet, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. I want to put myself in Kratos' position, though, because this is a roguelike. This is Kratos challenging himself. I did it all on mastery.
Oh,
and it was so infuriating.
That was so hard.
And like it kind of brought me back to those times back in like as a teenager where like I had to beat games on the hardest difficulty or else I was not good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was a moment where I stopped and I was like, do I really need to play this on mastery? Because I was really back and forth on just putting it back onto whatever the one before mastery was.
Yeah.
But I decided I wanted to continue on Mastery because I really was enjoying it, and that had to be the focal point. So I just wanted to do the PSA for everybody out there. If you are playing a game because you think you need to be good enough at something, and you're playing the hardest difficulty, give yourself a break.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying it, keep going. If not, change the difficulty. There's no harm in it. No one's going to know. You're not breaking any records. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I need someone to tell me. So I'm glad
Yeah.
Kratos showed me the way. Man, by the way, not saying anything about the game itself, but that DLC should have been a paid DLC. It's astounding to me it was free.
Yeah.
Astounding.
Yeah.
It was probably one of my favorite experiences this year of 2023.
Sure. Yeah.
Even though I played it technically in 2024, but that's not the point. No, I started in 2023, so yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're
I'm
covered.
talking to myself. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was better than it had any right to be as a small DLC. That, man, I just kept pulling me back. If you love roguelikes and you love God of War, even if you don't like God of War, I think you'd still like this.
Yeah, it's just very fun.
So good.
Yeah.
I actually I'm going off on a lot of tangents today.
That's okay.
Did you hear about the creator of God of War, the original God of War series, David Jaffe?
Vienna Hooligan?
Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He came out I think he had a self-published YouTube video talking about his dislike of the current trajectory of Kratos and where he's going, and how he disagrees with like where Kratos, his characterization, and how the writers of the new series are instilling their own values into Kratos, and he thinks that's wrong. And I just want to say for myself here at Tales, I'm so happy that David Jaffe is not a part of the God of War team anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. Yeah. I cannot say how happy I am that he's not a part of the team anymore, because what they are doing, what Sony Santa Monica is doing with Kratos and the story of God of War is just so good. We talk about narratives a lot, but man, this,
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Every single game since 2018, the new one, Ragnarok, Valhalla, each one has made me think about myself in a different way and kind of really do some, not like soul searching, but kind of internalize thinking about myself and my thought processes and my values. And games don't really do that a whole lot of times, and God of War does. And like, man, it just, everything they talk about is so mature. It's such a healthy mental health perspective, and really it's really like God of War cognitive behavioral therapy, because everything that happens is kind of what you do in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is kind of wild. But I don't want to get into that because it kind of spoilers stuff. So I don't. If you know, you know. If not, ask us and I'll expound a little bit. But love God of War Valhalla. I can't. I'm
So good.
actually really sad that I'm done with it.
Yeah.
But we will be playing Lethal Company a little bit later today with our friend Dave.
Yeah.
And then I bought 2 nights ago, I bought Assassin's Creed Mirage because it was on sale. And I thought, is that or Alan Wake 2? And I thought, you know what? I wouldn't want to give... I don't know if this is the right thinking, but like between Ubisoft and Remedy, Remedy make? Yeah. I kind of want to give Remedy more of my money
Totally fair.
than Ubisoft, which makes a lot, I would imagine a lot more because they have so many more titles. So I just felt like that was kind of my thinking. And plus I want to play the Assassin's Creed game. Really
It's
bad,
also much
so.
shorter, I think, than Alan Wake, so I think it won't take you nearly as long to power through.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
imagine.
I was thinking this morning how fun it would be, and by fun I mean awful, to go through our backlog and just talk about all the games we've never played. And just really hurt everyone that listens to us,
really
who probably loves
rush
a lot of these
everybody.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun episode. We go through like the top games of every year and figure out which ones we have not touched. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
even better. That's
Yeah.
even better. Yeah. Let's really just roast ourselves into a corner. Roast ourselves into a corner?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a saying, but it is now.
It is now, yeah.
Not only are you putting yourself in the corner, you're roasting too.
Exactly.
How horrible is that? Storygoers, we hope that you're happy, healthy, and doing well, and we hope you enjoyed our last DLC episode of our character wheel, who would be the best replacement for Rudolph, as well as our kind of going through the Game of the Year awards, what our Game of the Year was, etc. We're back on track now with this year. We've had a lot of just DLCs like the last 2 months, but we are back on track with episodes and stories and such. So, new year, same old us. That's okay. That is what it is.
Yeah.
You can email your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives to talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All of the E's are threes. You can also find us on our social media or by leaving a voice or text message at our toll-free number at 207-494-4334, or you can read or listen, or you can, answer any of our Spotify poll questions on any of our Spotify episodes down below. Well, most, about like half of them, I would say at this point. speaking of, we had a lot of write-ins since our last time. Ryan's also raising his desk up.
Switching to double standing desk. Get my little rocker underneath me for my so I can have that to focus.
So going through, we wanted to kind of read some of these responses, and I screenshot a lot of these. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got it. In our Little Nightmares story part 1, we had Paul. Oh man, Paul, I'm going to be so sorry when I butcher your last name. I'm so sorry. Paul Phalloides. I think it's Paul Phalloides. Hopefully, Paul, forgive me. Paul said, great job with Little Nightmares. Could you also add a Kirby story? Maybe Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Kirby Star Allies, or even Kirby Return to Dreamland. And I think I never thought of Kirby for a bedtime. That's literally perfect.
Yeah. They have bed-themed Kirby games, I think, out there with Dreamland.
Yeah. Wait, can I take a step back? Did I call Paul Phil?
I don't know. You called him Paul.
I called him Paul. Now I'm panicking. I called him Phil. Paul, if I called you Phil, I'm sorry. And Paul, also, great idea. And we will happily do that in a future episode sometime this year. I think we definitely can do Kirby as a bedtime story. That's a good idea. All right, let's move on. We have one viewer, one listener, known as the Enderman, the Minecraft character themselves, wrote into several of our episodes. So for the first one, in your opinion, does Luigi make a good lead character? Why or why not? The Enderman said, I really like Mario, but sometimes Luigi has some fun with a soccer ball. I don't know what that soccer ball entails, but I really like it.
Very good.
And the Enderman, let's go through all the Enderman submissions here. Do you consider Super Mario 64 to be a special game to you? If yes, why? And they just wrote amazing, which is very, very kind of them. Didn't really answer the question, but you know what? I appreciate it nonetheless.
Still excited.
And then two more from the Enderman. You know what? Actually, I don't know where this one came from. There's one of them. The Enderman wrote, I love Mario 64, and I played it lots, so yay, with a bunch of different emojis. Maybe it was the same episode again, and they just replied twice. I don't know. I already read that. Okay, there's only one for Enderman. Sorry, I gotta figure out a better way to organize these. There's such a fire truck, a garbage truck on fire, fire truck on fire. That's what it is.
That's fire truck on fire is very bad. That's a bad situation. Yeah.
Also writing in is Mario himself.
Wow, thanks, Mario.
I don't know which episode this was in because I forgot to screenshot the title, but I imagine it's Luigi's Mansion one. Mario wrote, I love your stories. They are all so good, and they are so interesting. I love the Luigi's Mansion one. It's so spooky and scary, which is very kind. We actually didn't write the stories, but we just took them and rewrote them. So we'll share half credit with Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. They can have some credit, I guess.
For the Pokemon Yellow Part 1 episode of Did You Ever Play Pokemon Yellow? We have, and this is just a bunch of different letters, BC, and there's just a bunch of different characters on a computer keyboard that I can't even say. With the picture of a bear, it just says no, which is I'm glad they wrote in. Thanks for letting us know. And then for Super Mario 64, for if you played it or not, and is it special to you, we have someone named I Choose You with a Lucario picture on there, and it says well done with clappy hands.
Oh, that's very nice.
We have Linda Lee Farrell, who just wrote Mario 64. And then Paul Killian wrote yes. So you know what? Sometimes we get sometimes we get really good answers, and sometimes people just answer, and you know what? We'll take anything.
We're happy with the engagement either way.
Exactly. And then for our last write-in, we have from our Iron Lung episode.
Oh, spooky.
Wrong answers only. What crime do you think the convict did to be forced to pilot the Iron Lung? We have Autumn, and Autumn, I'm horrible with numbers. I'm so bad with this. 1, 2, I gotta count. Because I can't, million is
6.
9 zeros, right? No. 6 zeros?
9 zeros, I think, is a billion.
That's a billion, yeah, okay, you're right. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I talk for a living. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's a billion, right? Mm-hmm. Or not, that's not zeros, that's just numbers altogether. So,
yeah.
Okay. Oh man, Autumn, I'm really regretting this already. Why'd you write this in?
Thank you for writing it, Autumn. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks,
How could you
Autumn.
do
We
this to
appreciate
us?
it a lot. Autumn wrote, oh man, he killed 5 billion. Oh my God, I can't read this number. Are you kidding me? 678 million.
Yep, you got it.
658,543 people then drank 5,555,555,555 people's blood.
Wow.
That hurt me. Reading that, I would rather have drank that many people's blood than read that number. So thanks, Autumn. Whew, please don't write in numbers for me to read.
Oh man. Now you've just
Please
opened
just
up this
don't.
really great number challenge that all the storygoers can participate in.
Just all submissions from now on just have like ridiculous numbers that I'll just be like stupid with reading. Storygoers, thanks for writing in. 16 minutes in and we just derailed. I just picture like a fire truck on fire. It's crashed. It's fallen off the highway.
Yeah.
It's in a puddle of water or something. You know what I mean? Like that kind of situation. For how this is going so far. New year, same us.
Yep.
But Ryan
Yeah.
is 2024.
It is.
Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Before I jump in, I didn't finish my speech yet. I just realized I read everything and I didn't finish. You can donate to our Patreon, rate us on Apple and Spotify. Read the questions below if you're on Spotify. All right, Ryan, we're in 2024.
Yeah, we are. We sure are. Here we
But
are.
before we jump into that, you had a great idea of going back into our 2023 episode for Games of the Year of 2023 with narratives that we were excited for, that we hadn't experienced yet. And you made a list of all the ones that we talked about.
Yep.
And we wanted to go through them. So do you want to start with the first one?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll start with the first one because
Yeah.
the second one's more you.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
The first one you said was Atomic Heart. And Atomic Heart definitely is a game. I didn't play it, but I still really wanted to play it. But I don't know, all the news around, like, it was collecting background data on people and things like that. All this weird news that I didn't know if it was true or not. I was like, I'll wait a little bit and see what happens. And I totally forgot about Atomic Heart. So I unfortunately never played it, but I did hear it had a good story.
The next one is Destiny 2 Lightfall, which I was very excited about before release. Mechanically, it was very fun. A lot of the stuff that came to it was very fun. The story was pretty bad, though. They tried to do this thing where they tried to tie your new like abilities and with the narrative, and the narrative was like a little bit weird and wild. And then they also like they were going to roll the narrative out in seasonal content, which then meant like the campaign was kind of unsatisfying from a narrative perspective. So narratively it wasn't great. I mean, there was some fun gameplay stuff there that, you know, they brought to it, and the new, you know, subclass was great, but narratively it felt pretty flat, I think.
Yeah. I didn't play that one, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm sure. I think everything you said, Ryan, is probably correct because you are a Destiny boy, and I support that.
Thank you.
You know better than I would. Next one, we both played this one.
Yeah.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And I speak for myself when I say, like, I appreciate what it was trying to do, but I do not feel like it was as a cohesive, strong story like Jedi Fallen Order. I really enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order. It was a story that really grabbed me. Being like a pretty casual, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan, but like a little bit more than casual Star Wars fan, it really gripped me. I love the story of a fallen Jedi who's trying to get back to grips with who he is as a person. But with Survivor, it just really was everywhere. And it just felt disjointed in ways. And the final boss, it just didn't really make sense cohesively to me.
Yeah.
The way it ended, I think it could have ended so much better. Mm-hmm. And it felt like they were setting up for future stuff, which is fine and it's all well and good. But I think it could have ended in a much more dramatic, tension-filled way that would have been more of a payoff than what it did give us. But what did you think?
I completely agree. I think there was some really good stuff with Cal's growth over the course of the game, but the overall narrative itself was kind of, like you said, not very cohesive. There was some interesting stuff in there, but overall I wasn't super invested with the overarching story. And then there's I don't want to call it a twist. There's this thing that happens at the end of the game that just I didn't buy or really like all that much at all, and it kind of soured the whole back half of that game, or back, portion of that game. It was interesting at first, and then the more like I learned about it, the less I liked it and wanted to do with it. And so it kind of sullied that whole ending. And like you, I think like they maybe sacrificed this story to tell another story later. And anytime you do that, I think it just doesn't then feel good.
Right. I'd much rather it end with a more cohesive, strong story than it just be set up and kind of made worse for future games to come out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So next we have Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. We both played this.
Yeah.
I wasn't really sure going into this. I didn't the story of the first game, I didn't like how it was told, but it was interesting. Mm-hmm. And I think they did such a better job of telling this story. This is like one of the best ways they've told, I think, a story in this type of format. And I think the fact that, you know, in the first game, you're like experiencing things that have already happened and really can't impact those things at all, versus in this game, it was so interesting to figure out why is the whole conceit of like maybe Zelda's bad was like so interesting and engaging that you wanted to figure out what was going on there, and it was really interesting. And then the whole last sequence is like absolutely incredible, like the best, like one of the best game finales that, you know, not just Zelda but like that there ever has been. It's just so cool. Very fun.
I mean, I think it's a Zelda narrative, which is like, it's not the best narrative, I don't think, but it's good for what it is. I appreciate it. And Zelda, the great thing about Zelda is that it doesn't go too far in terms of like becoming super convoluted. Like, it just is what it is. It tells you what's happening. You put some pieces together for kind of like a little bit of exposition, but besides that, it doesn't go too far to be like, what is happening, right? It keeps you on track with what's happening. And it gives you so much freedom in doing so. I think the only thing, and this is like not a spoiler alert, but just like a heads up, I won't say anything about them, but so if you haven't played Tears of the Kingdom, move on a little bit further, but is the tears themselves, finding the tears and the stories that they're told. I kind of wish they did them in order, because then I think like the second one I found something really significant happened. I was like, oh, no. I don't know who that is. Like, I don't know the context in which that happening is important. And then as you learn, like, oh, that's an important person. That's not good. But then it kind of took away that shock value for me, where I wasn't like, okay. So I kind of wish it went in order, regardless of what tiers you got, rather than it being fixated. Like, you know, each tier had one specific memory fixed to that tier. But it is what it is. That big reveal, though, with that is pretty big. I thought that was very cool. And it does break my heart, though, because I've read a few times that I guess he's a producer / director. He's directed a few, and I think he produced this one. But Aonuma and I think Miyamoto also have said that the timeline for Zelda isn't something that really they care about too much. They just want to focus on each game, which is fine, but also breaks my heart a little bit, because you can't have sequels and then say you don't care about the continuation of the story. But I don't know. I am happy, though, that as much as I would love more from this world, I think I am ready to move on from the Hyrule of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And with the DLC not happening, and them just focusing the resources on building the next Zelda game, I think that's kind of a cool thing. I think they're trying to... This is my own personal opinion, but I think they're trying to avoid another like 6-year gap situation that they had before with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I think it was 6 years. But we'll see. I'm hopeful. I would love something new, but it sounds like this formula of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with the open world exploration and what comes with that is going to be what we're moving forward with from now on. So we'll see. Oh yeah, I'm next. Well, this one didn't come out. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, so we'll skip that one. Maybe talk about it later. Diablo 4, though. I actually didn't play Diablo 4. It's not my kind of game, but Ryan, you are definitely a Diablo boy.
I am, Diablo 4, really fun game. A bit of a mess in some ways at launch with some of the stuff. But overall, probably one of their best launches. And the story was really interesting. I like how it takes place far enough away from Diablo 3 that it really doesn't matter if you know anything about that game at all. It is like dark and gothic, but also like asks a lot of like there is a demon and an angel, but like the demon is doing some things that are good for the people, and the angel is doing some things that are bad for. So it has this like really cool dichotomy of those two characters. And even though I think like it starts really strong, like that first act is really great, and then it kind of loses it a little bit in the second and third act because they're more open. I think it was a really interesting story, and Lilith is such an interesting character, and they did a great job with telling that story. I'm really excited about the DLC because the DLC is like tying back into Diablo 3, and we get to revisit some of the stuff from there, which is really exciting because Diablo 3 is the Diablo game I played the most of, even though this game seems to be like mostly inspired by Diablo 2. Still very fun, still very good. I really enjoyed it, and I thought the story was pretty good for Diablo.
This is just random because we were talking about Diablo, and I don't know, I never played it, so I can't confirm, but I know Lilith was a skin in one of the Call of Duty games recently for the multiplayer, and I heard that her hitbox is just gigantic because she's such a huge, imposing character. Big, yeah. It was so easy to kill her because her hitbox is just gigantic.
That's very fun.
Yeah, which is actually really funny. It kind of defeats the purpose of being this big, menacing character if you just constantly have so many weak points.
Yeah.
All right, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Man, numbers, man. Roman numerals. I didn't end up playing 16 like I thought I would. I heard mixed things. It will be a game I think I will go to eventually, but probably not before another one that I talk about later on this list for 2024. But I heard it was pretty good. I heard the story of 16 was pretty good. A solid story. So it is one I'm excited to play. But you didn't play 16, right?
No, I did not.
No, okay, I didn't think so.
Next we have Alan Wake 2, which was a game that we had on our list, but I don't really remember being aware of it at all. Maybe it was just in passing we'd heard about. Because it feels like, and whether or not this is just because I'm old and have a bad memory, it feels like this game came out of nowhere and just like took over the world within like a few weeks of it coming out. Yeah. I neither of us have played it. I've watched a playthrough of the first few hours. But this is a game I haven't played, but is supposed to be like probably one of the best narrative games of the year. So very excited to eventually, learn more about it and check it out. Maybe.
I know. I think I really enjoyed Alan Wake 1's story a lot. I thought it was fun and different. So I'm excited to see where they go with 2. And I will play. I think after Mirage, I'm going to have to play Alan Wake 2. I'm surprised Assassin's Creed Mirage is on our list. Actually, whatever.
I know. I'm surprised too.
Yeah. It wasn't announced yet. I don't know. Anyway, that's not the point. I feel you're right, Ryan. I feel like they almost like they just announced it ahead of time for Alan Wake 2, and then we just put it on the list because we were both Alan Wake fans, and then it just came out of nowhere. Yeah. So we totally forgot about it or something. But I am really excited for it. If it's more of Alan Wake 1 and all the hype of the Game Awards with that game has made me really excited for it. So I think when the right time, I feel like late February is like the right timing for that game. Though it'll probably be earlier for me personally, but I'm really excited to kind of jump into it. Like the darker months right now with winter, I just feel like it kind of is perfect for Alan Wake. So I'm kind of happy I've waited, but we'll see. Next one is Baldur's Gate 3. I have not played this one, but man, people just keep ramming this down my throat about how this deserves Game of the Year, and I hear everybody. I get it. It deserves Game of the Year. I get it. In every way, everyone keeps talking about the different things they do playing this game, and it just blows my mind, like how versatile this game is in terms of, even from a narrative standpoint. Like every choice truly matters, and it's kind of wild to me. Like just outside of gameplay, I've heard some wild things about the gameplay and what you can do to kind of like not exploit it, but just like have smart workarounds for it.
Yeah.
But just the character interactions and how the characters interact with each other and how that builds, and how each choice, each death or choice to let someone live or who dies by whose hand alters the story. And it is just wild. It is absolutely wild. It is a game having gone through the narrative stories with Celeste on the show.
Yeah.
I've always loved the idea of playing Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, but it just didn't seem like the right games for me to play. I loved listening to them more, but man, Baldur's Gate 3 is that game where like I think I'm gonna have to. I think I also have to play it and fall in love with Asterion too. Apparently, yeah, everyone seems to be in love with him. So yeah. Okay, yeah. That's all I hear about is funny things with him. And I guess I also read too that people have, I think in the PC version, built in a mod where he's just carrying a gun, and it's become very popular. So it's just images of Asterion carrying a gun. And it's really funny. Yeah. So I'll have to play it. I totally see why I think the director wore a suit of armor to the Game Awards. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, he wore suits of armor at all of the big dev updates. So it's just like,
really?
Yeah. So it's a bit that he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I think I'll have to play because it's just so cool.
Yeah.
How wild this game sounds. Like I was talking to someone and they were like, "Yeah, I'm only level 6." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm 30 hours in, and I was like, "Whoa, only level 6 and you're 30 hours in?" And then we were talking. He's like, "Oh, yeah, there's only 12 levels." I was like, "Oh, okay. Like that makes more sense then." I was like, "You were kind of making it sound like 6 was nothing." Okay. But like it's just all these little things I'm learning about the game makes it very exciting. So I think once I get through a little bit of my personal backlog, and I feel like there's nothing besides like Fortnite to jump into, that's when Baldur's Gate will fit that narrative. Yeah, for me. Wait, did you talk about how do you like it? You obviously love Baldur's Gate 3. Do you want to talk about it? Sorry.
It's great. It's a very fun game. I haven't played it nearly as much as I would like to, but I have played. I haven't got to the part that kind of usually blows folks' mind, which is when you get to the city in Act 3. But I'm still spoilers. You go to Baldur's Gate in Baldur's Gate 3. But it's a really incredible
I'm never playing it now.
It's a really incredible game. I'm excited to play more of it. One of the things I was listening to a different video game podcast, and they were talking about how, when Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild came out, it like changed the game industry. Like everyone then tried to make that game. And this person said like, you can try, but they like wasted a ton of money in this game, right? They like spent thousands of dollars, animating animations that you'll never see. So like it's I think it's a really great game and it's a really incredible game. I think it's going to be very hard to justify to anybody who has to answer to stockholders that you make a game like this, because so much content like you will just never see, or it's like not important. Like they have, when you get to like the city, every single character in the city is fully voiced and has a full background and a full history, and you can do quests for almost all of them, right? And it's like hundreds of NPCs. And it's absolutely insane, the amount of time and energy, and it's just not something that is feasible unless you do like a 6-year, early release.
What?
And then the game came out, like, it was in development for 3 years. They did 3 years of early release, and then the game came out. And it's just like something that you just can't do unless you just have a ton of time and money and don't care about, that people will ever see some of the stuff you create. So it's just super interesting to think about what that game looks like. And I hope that a bunch of studios don't try to make this game and then get burnt out and close down, or like have to deal with, the downfall. I think like take what's good and then like don't worry about the other stuff. The same with like Tears of the Kingdom. No one is going to be able to make their like machine system. It's just like not possible, right? They had years and years and years and years to make just that. It's very similar to that. Like there's just some things that like, unless you just have a lot of disposable money, don't even try it, because it's just not gonna work
right out.
Yeah,
especially on an IP that's not well known, which sucks saying that.
It kind of
sucks to say that, but it's
super
I don't think Zelda would have been as a big of a hit if that game had come out on. That was totally different than what it was. I mean, maybe it would have. Maybe it would have. But like, much less likely in my opinion, because it's Zelda. It has that brand recognition. Yeah. And Baldur's Gate has that brand recognition as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the only company that could truly just on a whim make a game like Baldur's Gate 3 or like Tears of the Kingdom or something like that is probably Valve.
Because they have endless money. Yeah, they have unlimited money. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or maybe even Epic, because they have unlimited money with Fortnite.
Right.
Too,
so
like,
true.
Whatever.
So true.
Yeah.
Next, Hades 2, which didn't come out. Big bummer.
No.
Big bummer.
Why?
But hopefully we'll get an early release this year. And get to play it and get to see what it's like and go from there. Bummer, didn't come out.
Man, when that was my biggest exciting. That was my most exciting thing about the Game Awards that didn't happen. I was like, all right, there's Hades 2 trailer.
Here we go.
The God of War Valhalla trailer like dropped. I was like, whoa, this is amazing! I'm so excited, but I have a feeling Hades 2 is going to
be even cooler. Yeah.
And then Baldur's Gate 1 Game of the Year was on stage. I was like, all right, but where's the Hades 2 trailer?
They're just waiting until after. It's like this cool after thing they're doing.
Oh, so sad. Next is Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
We both played? Yes.
No, I have not played yet.
No. Oh, you haven't played? Oh, that's right. Okay, so I have played. Okay, I'll keep spoilers to a minimum. I won't spoil anything, actually. I played Spider-Man 2 and then went back and played Spider-Man 1, which I don't think you should do. Playing Spider-Man 1 again after 2 is just infuriating because the swinging speed is so low.
Yeah.
And the traversal is so not the same. And nothing against Spider-Man 1 by any means. It was just the game that came first. Just don't do it in that order, please, for love of it. It just is infuriating. There was a lot of good in Spider-Man 2's narrative and a lot of not good in Spider-Man 2's narrative. A lot of things that went really well and a lot of things that I think just dropped the ball. A lot of random things that I just like, why are we doing this? This is kind of stupid. There's one particular mission that some people really love and some people do not love at all that involves Miles and another character in the series that was just bonkers weird. I don't know. I don't even understand the point. It seemed like just like another, in the same way that the MCU likes to just do this like cameo, like just extravaganza, but you know, in their movies now, that kind of felt like that similar vein.
Yeah.
From what this mission was, but regardless, I think if you love Venom, right, the story was fantastic because it has a whole different take on this character that was really fun and cool. And and this isn't a spoiler because we know that Harry's in the game, and I really liked Harry. I really like Harry a lot. But there's just things about this game. It just felt so incohesive, and I personally am just a little tired of the angry Peter narrative when he wears the symbiote suit. I was just kind of tired of that. We've seen that so many times. I just don't really care so much. And he wasn't. In my personal opinion, he wasn't really that mean anyway. He kind of was, but he really also had. There's more to it than just that.
Yeah.
From the narrative itself, but there are great moments. There are great moments where Peter and Miles have to do things that they don't necessarily want to do with and against one another, and I think that was really cool. And especially the ending of the game itself. And I think the ending of the game itself was really strong and it ended on an interesting note. Not where I think I would have wanted it to end necessarily. It felt more like the Jedi Survivor scenario where I sacrificed the ending a little bit for the setup of another game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm also trying to look at it with open eyes, and I'm curious where the DLC takes us. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm hoping the DLC kind of expounds on an epilogue for this story and gives us a little bit more to chew on to feel more satisfied with it. Mm-hmm. I will say the best thing this game gave us, and I don't know if you've seen this, Ryan. Have you seen the clip with have you talked about this maybe? The clip of one of the new suits towards the end of the game? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm sure everyone who's listened has probably heard this, but there's that clip of one of the characters gets a new suit, and it looks pretty awful. In my opinion, I think a lot of people share that opinion. And Peter's like, what's up with that suit? It just looks so disappointed. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, there's more to it, and it goes into spoiler details. But something happens with Peter, and I was like, this is silly and weird now. Like this just is. I don't know. We should do when we get into Spider-Man eventually, which I think it will be a narrative we do eventually.
Yeah.
I'll have more to say about it. It wasn't perfect. I definitely don't think it should have ever been. This is a really hard thing to say. I'm not sure it should have ever been considered for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good game. It's a great game to play. Narratively, drops the ball. Gameplay-wise, is fantastic. Love the gameplay of the game. Love it. Narrative, not so much. That's why I feel like Game of the Year wasn't so justified for it. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people love Spider-Man 2. Don't hate me. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, narratively, it swung its web and slammed into a building, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh no.
Not really. It more like nicked a shoulder against a building. You know, if you can imagine like him swinging and like his like shoulder like hits a building on accident.
Yeah.
But he still is okay. Mm-hmm. That kind of.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
Ryan, you can just tell me to shut up. It's okay.
No, it's fine. I enjoy when you just keep. It's always fun. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Next we have Redfall, which is my biggest disappointment of the year. I was so hopeful and excited for this game, and then it just came out and was I never played it. I didn't touch it because of all the stuff that was around it. That it was just a bad game that wasn't put together well, and that they like maybe didn't really want to make. So it's a big bummer so I didn't play it. I don't know if you played it at all, Eric.
No, I didn't also
But
play
I
it.
was very excited about this game. This was probably one of the games I was most excited about for the year, and then just nothing. Which is a big bummer, because I really love Arcane and all the stuff they make. And there's been talks of we want to go back and fix it, and I just don't know if that's worth the time doing. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe, maybe they'll pull a Cyberpunk. Not that any studio should do this. Just make your game good in the first place.
Right.
But, they might, and who knows. So yeah, that's my feelings on it.
Yeah, I feel like a Cyberpunk should only ever happen with Cyberpunk, and we should learn from this mistake and not have it happen again.
Not publish games before they're done. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I'm sure there's way more.
Of
right,
course.
stockholders are the worst.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they play a huge part in this, and it's probably super infuriating for people. I also didn't play Redfall, though. I will say, even though I didn't play it, and I know, from what I heard, it was awful. Arcane is still a great studio.
Yeah.
I love Arcane so much. I love all their games besides Redfall. I love, starting with Dishonored 1. I forget what other games they made before Dishonored 1. That's when I really found them.
Yeah.
But Dishonored 1, Dishonored 2, Prey, and Deathloop, I think are all fantastic games. Like, they are all so great. I love them. Like, I feel like Deathloop was criminally underrated.
For sure. Yeah,
Like,
such an incredible game. Yeah.
Such an incredible game. I think that game was so much fun, had so much character, so much versatility, and it was just so slept on. It blows my mind a little bit. I think Arcane deserved way more recognition for that game. Just those moments with Juliet? Yeah. I think that's her name. Would talk to you over your controller was just so much fun.
Yeah.
It was just such I love it. When those stopped, I was devastated.
Yeah.
Not for anything narrative. It's just eventually they'll have to run out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They only have so many.
There's, but I don't know. I'm in the same vein as you. Redfall is just move on.
Yeah.
Sometimes mistakes happen. That's okay. Move on. We know, and big spoiler if you don't know this yet from the leaks that happened, I think from people who stole data or something, or was it from a court case? I don't know. There were some leaks that confirmed that Dishonored 3 is in development, which I am extremely excited for.
Yeah.
I love the Dishonored world. I need more of it. And this is how Arcane can get back on top by building this amazing
And
game
then
in this amazing world.
in 6 years, make a Redfall 2 and make a good game. And that would be fine.
Yeah.
Because I like the concept of that world. And the whole conceit of it, but it just wasn't there yet. So return to it for another game down the road when you're in a better financial place.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Or just don't touch Redfall.
Or just don't touch it again.
Make Prey 2, as you should be making, because why? Why?
Yeah.
That ending of that game still gets me.
Yeah.
It still gets me.
So good.
Oh, that's such a good game. Yeah. That's a game we gotta do on Tales.
I know.
That is
Prey
such a great game.
Phenomenal game.
Man, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then our last one that we had speculated on for 2023 was Starfield, which I didn't play. Did you play?
Played maybe 10 minutes of, I think. I booted it up on Game Pass one day. I landed on a moon and walked around for a little bit. It's like, oh, this is pretty fun. I'll come back to it. Maybe. And I didn't come back to it at all.
Baldur's Gate 3!
Which maybe speaks to it. Like, there was a game that came out at the exact same, or very around the same time, that was also a space game. That was so much better. What game was that? Maybe
Not Dead Space 1, was it?
Maybe. I thought it was a game that was similarly open worldy. I can't remember. I can't remember at all. But I remember people talking about, like, hey, here's a good version of this, but I don't remember what game it is.
Oh, that's really mean.
Yeah, for all of these games, man, the developers want to make the best game they can. It is in no way any of their faults at all, ever. I would say. They have to ship things at certain times, and they have to make sacrifices because of money.
Yep. This is the biggest surprise, shocker, I feel like, of 2023 was Starfield. Because that game, when it was announced, people were beyond excited. I don't know if there's even a word for it. The idea of a Fallout in space, a Fallout type game in space, that kind of gameplay loop set in outer space was like so enticing for so many people. And for it to, I think it did well. I think
financially it did fine. I don't know for sure.
I don't either.
But
it definitely didn't get any talks. It didn't really get talked about a whole lot.
No.
Baldur's Gate 3 definitely took the talk of Game of the Year around that point, I feel like.
Yeah.
I could be very wrong about that. But just the fact that it didn't get any awards from Game Awards, that's pretty huge. And it kind of says a lot. I just feel like, and this is my own personal standpoint, I feel like Bethesda has a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad saying that, though.
Well, I mean, 76, Fallout 76 had its best few months it's ever had a few months ago.
Yeah.
So they're still doing okay, but I think, like, I don't know how old folks are who listen to this, but, like, Skyrim was insanely huge when it came out. People called off work for like a week. Like, it was this huge thing, and it's all people talked about. It was a very different time when it came out. Like, the landscape was different. But man, it was so huge when it came out. And, Fallout was exciting. I don't think it was as exciting as when Skyrim came out. But people were still excited. Like, people love the Fallout franchise. Fallout 3 was pretty critically acclaimed. And Fallout New Vegas is incredible. So, like,
so good.
It's just a bummer that then... I mean, it's not a bummer that, like, it is a bummer that it didn't live up to that hype. But, like, the game... The game you make is the game you make. And
yes. Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. In terms of Bethesda products, I'm most excited for the Fallout show, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And I hope that kind of gets me jived to play more Bethesda games when it comes out in April, I think, the show.
Yeah.
But ever since Fallout 4, I've just been really off the bandwagon for Bethesda. I've just been not super... I didn't love Fallout 4 personally. I did beat it. But I just did not fall in love with it the way I did with New Vegas and Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And I know New Vegas wasn't developed by Bethesda. I know that. But, still, it was still more of that. And the same, but it was just... I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't click the way the other ones did. So... but I could see Starfield having its own Cyberpunk, its own maybe. No Man's Sky again. Yeah. It's the new thing that in video games where you can have redemptions because you just put out new patches for things and new updates. So
you ship a game bad, you make a bunch of money, then you fix it and ship it and make more money. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately it's not a bad financial decision to do so, and until it becomes a bad financial decision to do so, people aren't gonna.
Everyone loves a comeback story.
Yeah, they do.
Truly.
Like Cyberpunk, which like Phantom Liberty is great, and what they've done to Cyberpunk is great, but like they shipped it before it was ready, and they paid for it then, but not enough for it to be an issue. So who knows? Yeah.
There's a report that came out recently that they were talking about how they don't want to ever be taken in by become a party within a
What am I
thinking?
They don't want to be I can't think of the word. They want to be another company buys them.
They don't want to be bought.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hear you, and that's great, but then maybe be more responsible to show that you can handle doing things on your own, and then you can do that. But again, I say that as someone who doesn't work in the game industry, so I'm sure it's way harder than I give credit for.
Of course it is,
But like, it just also feels like I'm sure they just want to move past this and never talk about what happened with Cyberpunk to begin with.
Yeah.
But I also feel like owning it is more of a mature thing to do, and being honest about that and not losing focus. Like, we messed up. And I'm sure it gets old after a while, but at the same time too, like when it affects so many people, I feel like that responsibility has to keep being discussed. Like we learned from this to show that people care, and eventually we'll have to stop talking about it. But I don't know. That's not the point.
It'll be interesting to see when they announce their next game what the language and the marketing will be around that. Because, like, the reason I think Cyberpunk was so well trusted is because they made The Witcher, which was, like, a hugely popular and wildly loved game and was very, very good. And people just assumed that they could pull it off. And I think, like, The Witcher is a completely different game for Cyberpunk. Those are very different games.
So different,
both, like, tone and play and all of those that, like, I think, like, they maybe bit off more than they could chew. But...
Yeah. Storygoers, we hope you enjoyed our discussion about Cyberpunk and Witcher 3 during our Starfield conversation.
That shows how much we enjoyed and played and thought about Starfield this year.
Woo! Blast off. So now we are in the great time of 2024. I hear that Mercury's not in retrograde anymore.
Phew,
I don't know what that means, but I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I keep being told by people who are really into not philosophy, astrology, totally different things, astrology, that January 20th is going to be a big day for everybody in the world. So let's see what happens.
Can't wait.
Hopefully good things.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back on January 20th. Yeah, I lost an arm. Not a good
Just everyone lost one arm. It's weird. I don't know.
Everyone's dominant arm was lost. It really sucks. I'm ambidextrous. Oh, that's great for you. Anyway, that's a bad joke. 2024, a whole new year of games. A year that's like, I'm not sure it's going to be as strong as 2023 because there's so much build up to that year for some reason for games. But you never know. There's a lot of upcoming games, narratively speaking, that are very exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have a few to talk about. There is going to be, I think we should say there's going to be spoilers in this conversation because you kind of have to, some of these you have to talk about.
For sure.
The other games. So if we mention a game, you haven't played it, you don't want to know about it, please just skip ahead.
Yeah.
So here's your warning for spoiler alerts. But we share one game together that we're very excited for.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump into that one first, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious. I think like if there was like a most anticipated of 2024 among this podcast, it would definitely be, I think, Hades 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Hades 1 was such a magical and incredible game. I think you jumped on early with it and like saw its whole life. I just saw like the release to the end. Just such an incredible game that I am very excited to get to experience, to hear more of Supergiant's stories, to hear more of that voice acting, and just get to play more of that beautiful, beautiful gameplay.
This may sound weird, but like I'm just so happy I jumped on it early, only because it was so much fun to see the world get shaped around your playing. For example, Charon from Hades 1, I believe started out as Charon and who's the goddess of hunting?
Artemis?
Oh, man. Artemis, thank you. We're both like kind of just these like random character artworks, like with different colors. I believe they started out that way. They didn't have the characteristics they have now. They were just these kind of like placeholder images. And so it was really hard to connect with them the same way you would with Zeus and Poseidon and Athena and all the other ones that already had their character models showing and their artwork showing as you talk to them. So when Charon and Artemis's artwork was released, it was like, oh, like after playing so many times, you go back to this and you hear about the update. You run to your computer or whatever platform at the time, it was only the PC, and you update it and you see the new artwork and you see I remember the first time going into Elysium and be like, oh my god, we're finally in Elysium. Like it was so cool. It was so cool after playing so many times, because you would get to the end of the underworld and the end of Tartarus, the second one, the magma one.
That sounds right. Tartarus is the equivalent to hell.
Yeah. And then when you would beat the Hydra Dragon, or you would beat one of the three sisters, you would just the voice would be like, and then something happened to Prince Zagreus and he died, and he'd be like, wait, what? And he would just die because you can't move forward. There's no more game to play.
Yeah.
So when you finally get to move on, it was such a fun time to like see more of the story unfold. And there's just something about roguelikes, and I saw this with God of War Valhalla, and of course with Hades, and any roguelike with a good story. Not only does the gameplay loop pull you in to want to play more, but the narrative of roguelikes does that too. And I feel like because you do get to a point where if you keep dying and you have not progressed, the story stops. The story is not going to keep going for you. You have to move forward to get more information. And I think it's just an extra motivator to keep going with these roguelikes. Hades is great at it. Like I said, God of War Valhalla. I'm trying to think of other roguelikes, but I can't off the top of my head. But that's what I'm so excited for with Hades 2, is just more of the story, more of the knowledge of what's going on with the other characters. How is this new character in Hades 2 connected to, well, we think we know that Hades is her father, so how is she connected to Zagreus? Because like we've never heard about her before. Yeah. What are the other characters doing? How is it all going to be interconnected to each other? It's really exciting, and I'm very confident in Supermassive, right?
Yeah.
Supermassive. Supergiant, thank you. Supermassive. Supermassive is Until Dawn, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Supergiant's storytelling, which is just always on point. They do such a great job. So I'm just so excited. I want to play it so bad. I am going to play early access for sure.
Yeah.
I want to relive that magic of it growing, this world growing and growing and growing. I don't think I can wait to not play any of it. Yeah. So I took that conversation way away from you, right? Is there anything else about Hades that you wanted to?
No, please. That was wonderful. No, I think I said all the things that I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, I'll jump into my first one then.
Yeah.
If that's cool.
Yeah, please do.
So big spoiler alert for this one, in case you haven't played Final Fantasy Remake, but Final Fantasy Rebirth comes out this month, or it comes out in February, the end of February. And I'm very excited for it because, again, huge spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear about this, move on. This is so different than the original Final Fantasy. And what's so great about Final Fantasy Remake, it is a story based on the original Final Fantasy that is separate from itself. And is a branching story that is pulling away from the original narrative and going in new uncharted territories where other characters who have died lived, and those who have lived died. And you know that something's wrong, and you know that some characters know what's happening and other characters don't, and you're trying to put the pieces together. And how now in Rebirth, there's two parallel timelines going with each other, where certain characters lived and another one, certain characters died. And you're trying to piece together what's happening. But more importantly, from a narrative perspective, this game, as shown by the newest trailer at the Game Awards, this game will have the iconic scene of Aerith possibly dying by Sephiroth's hands in the original game. However, it's really speculated that Aerith knows what's going on. She knows that this is not how things are supposed to be, and that she's kind of encouraging that narrative. So the question is, will she die?
Yeah.
And Square Enix did a great job with the trailer because they really want you to know that this scene's going to be in the game, and it could be anything. A lot of people are speculating Tifa will die.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence to show that, but you have to assume someone important is going to have to die if it's not Aerith. Or, in my mind, what if Aerith's actually the bad guy?
Yeah.
And Sephiroth's not? I would be wild. That would be wild. We'll see. That's just a narrative, though, I am so excited for. I haven't played... Yeah, it's so smart. I mean, I love that they didn't say anything about this in the remake. And so when people started playing it, and all these, like, I forget what they're called, the fate ghosts, or it's the ghosts in the game that try to keep everything in order that you as a player are constantly fighting against because you don't know why they're there. That you are changing the timeline, you are changing the fate of the story and what's happening. And just for that realization when you play the game, it's like, oh my god, like this is insane. Like I can't believe this is not the same game that I thought I was playing from the PS1, right? Yeah, PS1.
Yeah.
So now with what's happening, it's so cool. I haven't played the DLC yet for Remake with Yuffie in it, but my goal is to get that done before Rebirth comes out because I don't want to miss anything. I think that's a game. If you didn't jump on Remake, that's okay. But Rebirth is the one you don't want to miss because I think that's going to have the biggest impact to the story and what happens. That I'm like terrified that I won't be. I'm going to almost boycott YouTube because it spoils everything. Yeah. Everyone wants to get the views and get their content out, and will spoil anything they can to get those views first. I'm just terrified of that happening. Yeah. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
So. If you're out there, if anyone is out there and they know someone who does that, shun them. They're horrible. They're horrible people.
Yeah.
I had Valhalla spoiled for me a little bit from that. I was like, why?
That's such a bummer that any of that magic was spoiled. Yeah.
Yeah. So annoying.
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
Next is a game, Neva. There was a trailer. I don't remember what it was at the Game Awards. I don't think it was the Game Awards. There's a trailer. There was a really cool trailer. I think it might have been at one of the game showcases of this really stunning artwork. Essentially, it's by the folks who made Gris, and it's about this. It's like a really emotional trailer of this like giant wolf defending this woman from like a bunch of shadow monsters. And then like the mom wolf dies, and it's like really emotional and intense. This is that game, right, where it's a 2D side scroller, beautiful game where about this woman who from the trailer and the small wolf puppy like going on an adventure together. And just the fact that trailer had so much emotional impact and was so well done makes me so excited for this game. And the fact I haven't played Gris, but I've heard it's phenomenal. And I really would like to take some time to play it because it's supposed to be like really good. Was enough that I'm very excited to kind of see what this game's all about and where it goes. It's giving me kind of like Ori vibes almost.
Yes,
which was a game series that like I do not like 2D side. I'm just not very good at 2D side-scrolling games because they take an accuracy and skill that I don't generally have. But I really loved those games, and I'm excited to maybe take a dive into another one with this game. So that game's called Neva, I believe, but very excited.
Brian, I'm watching the trailer as you're talking. It's killing me a little bit.
It's so
it's really sad.
Me and my partner were like watching trailers, and I put that one on. She's like, I don't know if I can emotionally handle this right now. We need to do something else.
It's so sad.
So sad.
Oh my God.
It's really good. So I'm really excited to see what that whole thing is all about, because it looks very good. It looks very, very good.
The Steam page says they say the story is experience the moving tale of a young woman and her lifelong bond with a magnificent wolf as they embark on a thrilling adventure through a rapidly dying world.
Yeah.
That's like really.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. It looks absolutely
beautiful.
beautiful.
The art is very great.
I just love how games like this, 2D side scroller games, can be so beautiful in such a different way than like Breath of the Wild or like Tears of the Kingdom or Baldur's Gate. Yeah. Like both great games. Like Valhalla as well, a beautiful game. Yeah. It's just the detail. But it's just cool. Yeah. It's just wild. We live in wild times. Art's cool. AI art is bad though. If you do AI art, stop it. Yeah. That's bad.
It is
Don't
bad.
you not? It's not art. It's not. Okay. Next one. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Coming back for another round.
It has such a... It's gotten... Man, this game has just been put through the ringer.
Yeah.
Rocksteady must be
Those poor
nervous.
folks at Rocksteady, yeah.
They must be nervous about this game. Because I don't think... I mean, this game's delayed like, what, 3 times, I think, at this point?
Yeah.
And I did hear that it got leaked online. The whole narrative got leaked online.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, which is... That sucks. But I'm trying to keep an open mind because Rocksteady did fantastic with the Arkham games. Yeah. I don't know if it wasn't for the Arkham games if the Spider-Man games would have come out the way they did.
For sure, definitely.
I really feel like it was it was really influential to games. The Arkham series was. So I'm hopeful. Obviously, Suicide Squad is not in any way like the Arkham games. But Rocksteady's always done a great job. I think Arkham Knight is critically underrated as well. Yeah. That's just my opinion. I thought it was a great game, but I just love the idea that there are bad guys who have to kill good guys to become good guys. Yeah. I just love the idea of that. I think it's really fun. And just to kind of take these classic characters and spin them to where you have to... I mean, I don't know how they're going to kill Superman. That seems like a lot, but just kind of seeing the Flash be a bit of a jerk and Batman being kind of like a psychopath, like, you know, like kind of like this, like kind of like a really scary guy. Yeah. I shouldn't say psychopath, but just unhinged. You know what I mean? Like, is really interesting. And of course, this is the last game voiced. Batman was voiced by Kevin Conroy for the last time in this game, which makes me kind of sad that he's playing a bad guy, like a bad Batman, as his last role ever as Batman. But Kevin Conroy, like he's going to always be the voice of Batman. He's so good. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be a fun narrative because the 4 members of the Suicide Squad they chose: Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and Shark.
The Shark one.
King Shark?
Yeah, I
King,
think so.
Something like that. I always forget his name. But are all fun characters. Are all really cool. The customization in it gives it just more of a emotional connection to it, I think, because you're kind of invested in the story than the characters. So I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to do better than people think. Yeah. Though I will say, I mean, people said that also. Even though Rocksteady didn't make it, Gotham Knights didn't do super hot. So hopefully it's not the same reaction to that. Yeah. But
my next one is The Rise of the Golden Idol, which, Eric, I heard this genre name in a different... from an article, and I love it so much, even though it doesn't make a ton of sense. So this genre of games that are like you solve puzzles and stuff like that, it's called Metroidvania, and it's fun.
So cool.
It's so good. Even though it's nonsense words I probably wouldn't say to a normal person, I love that it exists as a word, because like the game progression is locked behind like information you have to learn about the world, and I think that's very fun. But the Golden Idol, the Curse of the Golden Idol, was a really fun game in this genre, and they're making like a full, like it was a full game, but it was fairly short. You could beat it, and it was broken down into chapters, and this looks like to be like a full world in this space, and I'm very excited about to see. They've released DLCs, and DLCs take every single story features around this golden artifact that can do supernatural things. And the first one, the original game takes place in like the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. Then there's DLC, which is like way back a long time ago when it was first found, and then DLC like in the in-between. This looks to be like a full game in the modern day, or at least in like the 80s and 90s, which I'm really excited to see. It's like a detective game in that time frame, and I'm really excited. The gameplay loop was very fun. I love essentially you're just filling in blanks with information. You like click in everyone's pockets and you collect like words, and then you fill those words in places. And I'm excited to see what they do with it. It looks like because the Case of the Golden Idol did so well, they're going to spend more money on it, make a bigger budget experience. And the narrative is super interesting in that like all of the games follow the same family, and you could track where this idol goes and like the tragedies that befall everyone who holds it. And I'm really curious to see like how that then is going to, play into the modern day. So I'm very excited. It's a very fun game series, and I'm excited to see what a bigger experience looks like.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It's just one person, that first family member picked it up and just screwed over everybody else.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, like essentially, it's the very first mission of the very first game, and it's like so the person found it. He was murdered. Who murdered him? And then you have to figure it out. But it's very fun. Very great game. If you have a chance to play it, definitely do. It's a fun game to play with other people. You just kind of all sit around and try to puzzle it out together. Very fun. Great game. Very excited about the Rise of the Golden Idol because I want more of these games.
Yeah. That does sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at Metroidvanias, so I'm curious how I would do with Metroidvanias. I love that. That's such a cool genre title. Yeah, I love that Metroid has been so influential in that regard. That's so cool.
Yeah.
My last game I have for 2024, and I'm sure there's going to be many good games. We had to keep the list shorter because we're already at an hour and 6 minutes. Is Black Myst Wukong.
Black Myst Wukong, beautiful looking game.
I know. It looks wild. Yeah. It looks wild. I wrote here when I was doing my list, I'm a changed boy who likes Souls-likes now, so I'm hoping this is more the same, which I really hope so. I think Lies of P have really changed my views to the narratives a Souls-like can offer. I get it now.
Yeah.
So if Black Myst Wukong is anything like that, I guess Bloodborne's very similar in that as well. I think Bloodborne's more so than all the others, but if Black Myst Wukong is anything like that, I'm going to really love this. I love the idea. It's based on the classic 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West with Sun Wukong and his journey to, I think, become immortal, or he is immortal and become enlightened or something.
In the West, it's the Monkey King. It's called the Monkey King, the guy with the tail and the staff. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. The gameplay looks amazing, but more so the narrative, it's this like fantastical world, the mythical story. More fantasy for sure.
Yeah.
With all these kind of like creepy, gross monsters. You fight a tiger person in a pool of blood. Like it's really intense. But I love they're taking narratives from Journey to the West and really putting it into Black Myst Wukong. So like he has his extendable staff and he can turn into a statue and he can transform into different beings and he can do all these things that are from the novel itself. They're putting into the game as like gameplay narratives or gameplay add-ons and things to do, and I think that it will be fun to see where this story goes. I'm sure it's gonna be. It sounds very Souls-like.
Yeah, looks like it. Gameplay.
Obviously, so I'm curious how they'll tell the story. Because like obviously, like with Lies of P, and I think Bloodborne as well, it's a lot through like papers you find on the ground and things that people tell you, and you have to really pay attention. I'm sure Black Myst Wukong will probably be something like that in the same vein. I don't think it's going to beat you over the head with the story by any means.
Yeah.
I'm just not realizing people are probably screaming at their phones listening to this because I didn't mention Elden Ring. Elden Ring's probably the same. I didn't play Elden Ring yet.
Eric,
I'll play it.
I am still like, I continue to see Elden Ring things pop up, and I was not interested at all. But after hearing you talk about Lies of P, I kind of want to do a co-op Elden Ring sometime.
I think we should.
That would be really fun to do.
Should we stream it on Twitch?
That would be very fun. That would be very fun. I think hearing you talk about Lies of P and like play in that game space, and me seeing more on Elden Ring, and I should go back and play Lies of P also. But
we should.
But the fact that Elden Ring has co-op makes it like much more exciting for me to jump in and try it because I'm a big baby.
I actually, that just kind of inspired me. I want to do a Liza P narrative for Tales now.
You should.
Oh,
You should.
I have like 3 scripts going right now. I gotta just pick one and stay in my lane.
No, that's okay. Spin all those plates.
Oh, yes. They'll start crashing. No. But no, I think Black Mist Wukong looks amazing. I'm really excited for it. I'm really hopeful that's good. Both gameplay wise, but also very much so narratively. I think I love the idea of Journey to the West. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan growing up.
Yeah.
And Goku was inspired by that. So I think this is kind of the same vein. Obviously very different things.
Yeah.
But still, like, I just love the idea of like Sun Wukong going through a mystical world with his staff and trying to find himself and find enlightenment. I think he's trying to find enlightenment, but I'm not positive on that.
That sounds right. I'm not.
It sounds right, yeah. There's a lot of Buddhist vibes, but I could be very wrong.
Yeah.
That also.
That would make sense.
Yeah. But Ryan, what is your last game on your list?
My last game. I was having a hard time deciding what I wanted to do for my last game. I think every year I have games I'm excited for, and the games that I love most are games that like come out of nowhere, and they're these like either these weird indie games or there's these like big games that are very exciting that I know nothing about. And I think we're seeing as like instead of an E3, there is now like a PlayStation showcase and Nintendo showcase, and that really changes how these things work. But I had to pick something, and I didn't want it to be Destiny, so I picked Star Wars Outlaws. So I'm excited for just more Star Wars stories. I think Jedi Survivor showed that like you can tell really good narratives. No, not Survivor. I mean, that one was also fine.
How dare you?
The other one.
We already bashed it.
The first one. Fallen Order?
Fallen Order, yeah.
Fallen Order shows that you can tell some like really good Star Wars stories and create these really beautiful worlds and add more life to them. And I mean, I think I'm very excited for a more grounded, dirtier, grittier, like, scoundrel focus of this story, and not like the, knights and evil, story that is told through the Jedi. I think that story is also interesting and has a place, but I think we've seen a lot of that, and I'm excited to see, I'm excited to hang out in, one of the 100 of Undercities of Coruscant, right? And, the underworld there seems very exciting and cool, and getting to meet cool bounty hunters, and I think I'm excited to see what that would look like, and I'm hoping it's done well. I don't know if that's still the case. Amy Hennig, right? She left Uncharted to go work on this and then left.
Yeah, I think.
Or something like that. I don't know, but.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Unless that was for that other game that was also looked very exciting and then is never going to come out.
Bounty Hunters, or Bounty 1313 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, who knows? Either way, I'm excited for more Star Wars stories. I am a big Star Wars fan, even though I am way behind in watching Star Wars things. I'm still very excited to see, more grounded Star Wars game where I get to shoot people with a blaster, and leaning into that space western stuff, which I really love.
That I think I am right there with you. So I'm trying to find more. I'm trying to find out more about Amy Hennig, and I don't think I'm spelling her name right. It's okay, whatever. But I feel you. I think I'm kind of really tired of the Jedi Sith narrative of Star Wars. I'm just so It's like the MCU effect. I'm just kind of burnt out on it. Mm-hmm. I get it. There's good and evil. there's space. There's lightsabers. I get it. Yeah. I love the idea. I think, like you said, a more dirty scoundrel scavenger story, more like a Rogue One story than it is like a Empire Strikes Back story.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Or more like a something more. Or maybe a better one is like Rogue One compared to Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace. That kind of difference. I think, I don't know. I'm just I love the idea of focusing on someone who doesn't have mystical powers or has a space sword and has just a blaster and is just trying to make a living, doing something that they shouldn't be doing. I think that's more fun and more interesting right now.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that Star Wars Outlaws, does well. I feel like this is and I have nothing to show for this, no evidence to support this at all. I feel like this is Ubisoft's not last stand, but it's gonna be a huge deal for them that this does well.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, I do worry for them a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think Avatar did better than I was expecting. I have no interest in playing. I've heard it did okay, sales wise.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen any. I have no data other than reading some articles online to support that. It could have bombed and lost all of its money. But I saw a couple things that said it did okay. But I think Skull and Bones has tarnished that whole experience so much from everything I've heard on it, and Assassin's Creed kind of not showing up and being the flagpole of the industry it was. I think they definitely need some wins to keep things going. I mean, Ubisoft has a ton of money and a ton of studios, but like to continue to be like a mainstay studio that people care about, I think they need to get some wins.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Avatar did well or not. I mean, I saw people posting about it, and I guess it's very pretty, but it's just not. I don't really care about Avatar, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And that's between just the story, and I don't like James Cameron. But whatever, that's not the point. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It breaks my heart that Assassin's Creed isn't doing as well as it used to be. You know what I mean? I think about Unity and how excited I was for Unity.
Yeah.
And I think Mirage is more like that, kind of, right?
Definitely.
And the idea, the gameplay.
Gameplay feels a lot more similar to a Unity than like the big open world games. I don't know if narratively it lands in the same place, but gameplay-wise it definitely does. And I'm hoping if they iterate on Mirage and maybe give it the love it deserves, they could have like these two very good series that are coming out of like open world more focused. Because I'm hopeful that Red will be good. It has a pretty cool premise. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I've never played Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So confusing. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has a DLC called Ragnarok, and God of War Ragnarok has a DLC called Valhalla.
I didn't know that. I just forgot about that. I don't know, because I know that what's his face from Mirage is in Valhalla.
But
I don't know if I'll ever play Valhalla because it's a big experience. I don't know what's gonna, and then I'll have to just spoil what happens for myself in that. I don't know.
Yeah, just go watch a YouTube. It's fine. Just watch it.
Yeah, there's just so much. There's just so much. I was telling you this before we started, but like Kingdom Hearts for me is done. Like I know they're making a fourth one, obviously, and it'll continue on. But for me, narratively, I'm just so done with it. I think for me, it ends at 2 because it's just become so convoluted and just so hard to follow that it doesn't feel worth even trying at this point.
Yeah,
and I feel like Assassin's Creed is kind of gone down that same road. Where it's just I have no idea what's even happening anymore, and it's so hard to follow because these experiences are just so huge and so vast that it's hard to put the time into them. So I don't know.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell a good story in a big world, I think.
Yeah. But storygoers, what narrative game are you looking forward to in 2024? We're curious what your thoughts are. Send us an email, your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives to talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All the E's are 3's on our social medias. Leave a voicemail or text at 207-494-4334 or answer the poll question below if you're on Spotify. We'll read all those in a future episode. Of course, if you feel in your heart of hearts to donate to our Patreon, we have exclusive episodes up on there right now, as well as some of our past scripts. We're going to try to get more of those out there soon, as well as the warm, fuzzy feelings of supporting your favorite podcast. By the way, our Spotify Wrapped released. It was really cool. I forgot to post it. But it said that 88 people, this was your number one podcast. So thank you so much. That's so cool. That is so cool. So it was very, very cool to see that. Of course, there's more than, but there's much more people who listen and who seem to enjoy it. So thank you to everybody who listened in 2023. We really appreciate you a lot. So Oh, last but not least, I had this question I wanted to ask you, Ryan, at the end of this episode. With 2024 being here now, a lot of the talk is, what will Nintendo do? Do you think, Ryan, that Nintendo will announce and release a Switch 2 this year?
I think it's probably dependent on... it probably depends on the Switch sales at the end of 2023, and if they're ready to move on from that and like just take another year working on this thing, or if the sales have dipped enough that they feel like it's time to release something new. I hope they release something new, even though, I don't want to spend more money in the world. I'm excited for more cool game things. And I would love to have, another Nintendo system to play things on. I think, you can say anything you want about the Switch, but it is, just such a cool system that probably is, has really captured the hearts of a lot of folks over these past several years it's been out, in a way that Sony and Xbox just can't. Even though I don't think sales wise, I don't know where it's at, but it just Nintendo is so perfectly positioned to just do whatever they want, and because they do it well, will make money. So it probably, I think it entirely depends on, how sales were. And I think we'll know based on, in the coming months, if they do I think they usually do a Nintendo Direct in February. I think if they do a Direct in February and they announce some new games, then we know, okay, another year of Switch. If they do a Direct in February and only announce, re-releases like they're doing right now, because there hasn't been a new game except for the Peach game that's coming out in these past few years. Or this year, there's nothing huge coming out except that. And Donkey Kong and Mario, I guess. So there's a couple things coming out.
Yeah.
But I think it certainly feels like, from an outsider perspective, that a lot of the stuff they're making right now is just re-releases and remasters. And that, to me, signals that they're preparing for something. I guess it's just a matter of preparing for fall of 2024, which I think would be probably the best time to do something like this. Or preparing for, the following spring or something like that. So I think we'll know soon, but I'm gonna hope yes. I think it's time. I don't know if it'll probably be a financial decision, but I hope so. I'm excited for more cool stuff.
Me too. I also agree. I think it will come out this year. I think they will announce it, and I think it will come out this year because now that all the talk around the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever at this point, I mixed them up. They haven't died down, but it's kind of become more just more neutral in conversation.
Yeah.
I think that now is when Nintendo would want to strike and stand out about the rest because they're not really so much competing with PlayStation and Xbox, but they also want to get buried by the news of all their stuff going on. So I think you're right, Ryan. I think now is a really good time with February coming up to be like, hey, this is coming out in the fall. Get ready, and here's all these games you look forward to build up that hype for when it drops in the fall. Because then once it drops in the fall, that first release comes out, they're already be producing enough to go into the holiday season with it. So it'll just be the next big thing for holiday 2024.
Yeah,
with potentially Metroid Prime, the new Mario, the new all these different things you can announce for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when the Switch came out, it came out with Odyssey, and they released, I think Breath of the Wild came out with it, but also it was on the Wii U. I think if they could release it with a bunch of really great games, I think it's gonna go a long way. And I didn't even think about that, but releasing off cycle from the Xbox and PlayStation cycle is a genius idea because like you said, really they don't need to compete with them because they're gonna the people who love it are gonna buy it no matter what. And I think they have a different player base. It overlaps, so I think they probably have a different player base that they're speaking to than Xbox and Sony. So I think that's I think that's very smart.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, with the way things are going. Because Nintendo will always, I think, be a little behind power-wise in their consoles, at least in the near future. Yeah. I think because we saw it with the Switch and then the PlayStation and the Xbox being a little bit more, or much more stronger. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo's you know what? No more third-party games. Because, it always back... Not so much third-party, but, really, Mortal Kombat 1 was a clear example. When it released really bad. It was just really bad it looked horrible on the Switch. It was just bad press towards the Switch. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo's you know what? No more. We don't need to do this anymore. We'll see. That'd be a huge jump. You know what I mean? Because I feel like people who buy fighting games like that on the Switch probably are more casual players. Mm-hmm. But I kind of feel like that just hurts the casual fighting game scene a lot because it's why did I buy this game now? It just feels like I got ripped off because it looks so bad. Yeah. When I could have bought it on PlayStation or bought it on Xbox, but whatever. That's the whole besides the point. But I do think the Switch 2 will come out. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited for it. We'll see. I hope so. Yeah. I think it's time. It's been a long time. And I just really hope they fix Joy-Con drift because, man, I suffer with it every day. I'm so tired of it. The Storygoers, hopefully you're happy, healthy, and well. Enjoy the new year. Happy 2024. And thank you again for listening to us in 2023 and hopefully for the next year to come. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.